Welcome to this week's devlog. For this week I did quite a lot. Obviously the graphics, but also a lot of other stuff. I added a Starfield skybox. I think it looks quite nice. And there are some planets in the distance. I'm using an EXR as the background skybox, so I can change the filters in Godot to use some glow. So that's why the planets and like the sun look that nice, even though it's just a circle. And I made this in Blender and then rendered with an equirectangular camera. I can actually show some footage here while I'm talking. So just make the planets, make the sun, these kind of things. So I'm wondering how far I should go with the Starfield, because there are a few different approaches. Some of those space telescope pictures, they have those really colorful nebulas and these kind of things, very vibrant. And then the other way is to go kind of the classic Star Wars route, which is just black sky with stars, right? And some planets. And so this is the first attempt. It's also easier, that helps, to just do it like this and then have some really nice planets. There are a few more back there, but I guess for now this is fine, and then can change it later. Ideally for every part of the game, I can keep using this sky, so it will take place in one location, and the exterior will just have this kind of skybox. As you can see as well, I did a few materials. So these textures I created in Substance Designer. They are tileable textures, node-based. I have some ground because it will take place on a space colony, and I think I will need some asteroid as well for that. So this is just the asteroid ground, one version. And because it's all node-based in Substance Designer, I can make a few more variations of that. And then I also made this tileable panel that I think actually turned out really nicely. So I'll try and make a few more versions of that. And this ground here, this metal floor. And currently I'm doing tiles that are 4 by 4 meters tall. So each of these cubes is 1 meter on a side. So then I did a few more changes to the controller, to the character controller and the camera. So this works a lot smoother now. You can still kind of clip into stuff if you try and force it, but I think it's better than having really harsh movement in the camera. I don't think it bothers me that much if you can clip a little. Only while moving. Afterwards the camera will move itself out of the clipped spot. And then you probably noticed this little floaty cube here. That's my gun stand-in. So if you hold down the control button, you go into the aiming mode, and you can see the little crosshairs showing up, and then you can still jump and everything works as normal. And of course, that means I added some guns, some shooting, some very basic type. And then I made a second one, which is more like a rifle. This one feels quite satisfying. And I think the coolest thing is I created little explosions. So when I hit something, there will be a little explosion. That can look kind of cool. Obviously, it's just an orange sphere for now. And the pistol has a lot slower fire rate, but a lot larger explosion. And then later I will make it so currently only the bullets deal damage, but the plan is for the whole explosion area to deal damage. So I could use this same approach for making like a rocket launcher or a pistol, stuff like that. The next thing I did is add some proper working gravity and jumping. So you can jump. Currently it's quite high, but yeah, you can just jump. And you can also jump twice. So right now it almost feels like a platformer. That's not the idea, so I will change that at some point. It will get a little more strategic. And then these blue boxes. They are zones that have different gravity. So if I step into that, gravity is inverted, and then I just keep going up. And then you can get up here if you want, and have more of a look at those planets back there. Looks quite nice, no? And also there's some bloom effect, the lighting, and all the reflections. Currently this is all a bit unoptimized. So I'm not using any reflection probes or light probes. It's just fiddle with the settings until it works. So this is actually another quite cool thing that I like a lot. is because these surfaces are reflective. When you shoot the gun, you can see the reflection of the emissive bullet. And I also added some very basic enemies. Well, I don't really know if you can call them enemies, but these spheres. They will spawn from the top of that roof. And I can go shoot them and kill them. And then there will be new ones that spawn. And if I get a bit closer, then they will start to move towards me. They will change their direction every 2.5 seconds or so. So you can kind of play around with them and just shoot them all. And then new ones will spawn. So there are a lot of things left to do. Obviously, enemies are just a placeholder, a start. I will need to work on some types, some different enemies to really see what's possible. But I think one of the first things I should do next week is change the stand-in character. Currently, I'm just using this little mascot guy that I made to put in the videos. I want to replace it with a humanoid character, because in the end, you would be a human explorer on the space colony that would then explore and walk around. So I can't have them jump 5 meters, maybe. Maybe I can, I don't know yet, with some boosters. Maybe I can add some boosters on the legs or on the back. And also this guy is just like 1 meter tall. So if you see the floor is to scale, this is 1 meter, so the character is quite small. Should be quite a bit taller. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, like, these enemies have kind of range in which they stay active. So if I get further away from them, if I can try and outrun them, they should stop moving. Yeah, there they are, just standing still. And then if I get closer again, then they will activate and start chasing me actively again. And then of course I want some damage on collision. So because right now if I just wait, I can kind of bully them. They just want to, looks like they just want to cuddle. Yeah, so this all needs work, of course. But they have, the enemies have health. So for example, if I use the rifle, it takes 3 shots to kill one. Whereas if I use the pistol, it only takes 1. But of course the pistol has a much lower rate of fire. I think I have something to work with. And then the next step is get some character in, get a character model in that works, that's more to scale. It's more closer to the final result. And then work on some more enemies. Start designing an actual level. And then see where it goes, what's missing. And the engine looks really beautiful, I think. I thought it would be much harder to get a beautiful result. I worked with Unity a lot before. And it's quite difficult to get something that looks real. That actually looks real, even if you have nice materials. So obviously making these materials is a big part of what makes the game look good. And any engine, if it doesn't have good materials, it's very difficult. So this, it helps that I have some experience doing this. And that I think they turned out quite well. So I'm very excited for what's to come. I think one of the other next steps will be to give these guys a second mode. So these guys should have an attack mode as well. So they will chase you for a while and then at some point stop and maybe shoot at you or something like that. Become a hazard, like a mine. They could place themselves somewhere and then stop. Another thing I was trying out is to add this flashlight to the gun, so like to the character. And I think instead of being fixed to the gun, it should be fixed to the character, so whichever direction you're looking. I'm imagining something like helmet lights on top. I was trying to be very realistic with how the lighting works. And on Earth, if you look on the shadow side of these cubes, on Earth you would have a lot of bounce light there, right? So this would not be dark. Even the stuff in shadow is not really dark. But if you look at some of those NASA moon landing pictures, you can see that because there's no atmosphere on the moon or on some asteroid, that the shadows, there's not a lot of light scattering. So the shadows are really dark, really black. And I quite like this look because I think it feels like space. But then again, everything is very, very dark here. I already cheated a bit and put some tiny bit of bounce light. So this is not super black. So that's why I thought maybe adding this kind of flashlight could be quite cool. So I can keep that very stark look. And also it just looks quite nice on with a normal map of the terrain. So yeah, these are things to keep experimenting with. Hope you're looking forward to next week, and I'll show some more. Thank you for watching.